everyone, and welcome back to our open source library at Q4D Lab. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to create a script in Arrow, how to type in a script, and how to save your script as an Arrow file. In our last video, you learned how to download Arrow and download RStudio and install both softwares. So today we are going to be taking you through the basics of RStudio. The objectives for this tutorial video are: 1, we are going to familiarize ourselves with the full panels in RStudio and the functions. We are also going to create a script in RStudio. And lastly, we'll be teaching you how you can type and save a script in Arrow. So when you install the software and open the software for the first time, you should be able to see these 4 panels. If, for example, you do not see these 4 panels, maybe you see 3, what you can do is to come to the upper left corner here where you'll see this white plus button, and click on this button, and then you'll be given a list where you can type on the first option there, create Arrow strip or open new Arrow strip. Once you do this, you will see these 4 panels. So these 4 panels help us to go through Arrow, type our script, and then get results. So the first panel we want to discuss here is the upper left panel. This upper left panel is called the script. The lower left panel is called the console, and then the upper right panel here is called the environment, and then the lower right panel here is called the viewers panel. And then we are going to go through what each of these panels help us to do. So let's begin with the script panel. The script panel in Arrow, this is the panel that helps you to write codes in Arrow. So say, for example, you are interested in addition or adding numbers. So you want to know, you want to add, for example, 2 plus 2. So this is where we are going to type 2 plus 2 to get a result. So, for example, if you see in this script here, you can see in line 1, we use the function setwd to read in an external file in Arrow. And in line 2, you can see that again, we were able to write a code. So in this line of code, we assign a name to our data set, right? An external data set or CSV. We will get to know these terms better in our next video. So we assign a name to this data set in Arrow. So again, within the script, this is where we can actually run our code. And then we can run our code, and then we can save it locally on our computer. The next panel we want to discuss now is the console panel. So the console panel is where you expect to see the output or results from the code that you ran in Arrow. So say, for example, we have, within our script, we type 2 plus 2. We expect that the answer for 2 plus 2 or the output for 2 plus 2 is 4. So within the console is where we're going to see the output for what we type in our script. So again, the console is where outputs or results generated from our code are displayed or shown. The next panel we want to discuss is the environment panel. The environment panel is the upper right panel. So within the environment panel, this is where objects that are ran in our script are saved or stored. So say, for example, here in our script, we were able to assign or name to a data set, right? So we can see that this has been stored as an object in Arrow. This is a data frame. You can see that the data frame has about 768 observations with 11 variables. Don't worry about the terms. We get to know them better in our next video. But objects that are ran in the script are then stored within the environment. And then the last panel we want to discuss is the viewer panel. This viewer panel allows us to see visualizations. So say, for example, here in this viewer panel, we are interested in knowing the association between diabetes status and body mass index classification. So we run the code to generate this plot. So we'll see the plot in the viewer. In the viewer or panel, we also have a tab called packages. So this tab allows you to see list of packages that are already installed in Apple. And then we also have a help tab in the viewer. This help tab gives you documentation or information on various functions within Arrow. So now that we are familiar with the full style of panels in Arrow, we are now going to demonstrate how you can type in a script and observe your result in the output and see how we can create an object that will be saved or shown in the environment. So as I mentioned, when you open RStudio, you see these 4 panels. So here we have our script. So we're able to type code in Arrow. And then we have the console panel. This is where we are able to see outputs from the code from our script. But we also type in the console. The difference is that whenever you type your code in the script, you're able to save the code locally to your computer. And then the environment panel, we mentioned this is where all of the objects from your script will be stored in. And lastly, we have the floor panel. So let's begin. Or new script. How do we open a new script? Please use the button here. When you carry your cursor to the button, you see a new file. Please click this button. Next, you'll see our script. Now click create. You see create a new script right now. Click this, and then you have a new script that is open. Now I want you to start typing in the script. What do we type in our script? Let's add 2 plus 2. So when you have added, we have written this in the script 2 plus 2. Next, please run this code. And how do we run this code? We use this run button. So when you click this run button, you'll be able to generate the output for what we wrote in the script. So let's press run. So when we press the run, observe what you see in the console here. So in the console here, we see that we have an output of 4. So again, we can type our code in the script and we can see the result in our console. Now let's create a list of numbers in Arrow. We can create a list of numbers in Arrow and assign name to them. By assigning name to a list of numbers in Arrow, you can be able to pull on that list of numbers at any point in time by using the name that you assign. Let's do this as an example. So let's say we want to create a list of numbers from 1 to 10. From 1 to 10. And we can run this now of code. We can run this list of numbers. So we now have a list in the so we see that we now have a list of numbers in our console here. Now let's assign a name to this list of numbers. Let's do this list. So we can assign a name using the less than minus function. And then one key thing to having or accessing your script easily is to learn how to copy and paste. So if you copy and paste, it makes it easier for you to run your codes without errors. So we can copy this and we can now, again, I want you to highlight this line of code. Please highlight this line of code and we run this line of code. Now when you run this line of code, please observe what you see in the environment, right? So now in the environment, we now see that this object for list are now being stored in the environment. So the list here, this is the name of our object, is numeric because it contains numeric values. So now in Arrow, if we want to go back to this list of numbers that we created, all we have to do now is to call on the name that we assign to this or number. So let's use a function called print, which allows us to print values or Okay, so this is by printing this, we now get the output of the use of numbers that we created. So this is how we type in our arrow script. This is how we type codes in our arrow script. This is where we see the output of our code, and this is where the objects or variables or data frame that we create will be saved. In our next video, we'll be taking you through objects or such as data frames, vectors, and so on. So lastly, in our video today, I'm going to show you how you can save your arrow script. So right above your script here, you will see this blue tab button. So this blue tab button allows you to see save current document. You will also press Ctrl S to be able to save your document. So we are going to name this first practice. First practice, and we want to add dot arrow. So you can save this file anywhere. You can create a folder on your desktop to save your practice work. You can create another folder, or you can just save it wherever that is accessible to you on your desktop. So yeah, this is how we create our vectors. So thank you for watching our video. We'll see you in the next video. Please stay updated with our open source library as we bring you bold and bold informative sections.